when I walked into Ireland to have my first meeting with Darkest, that was the first time I'd met him in my life. When I walked in, and I was sitting across from this black man that could actually sign a check. That doesn't happen in the UK. There aren't that many heads of companies that can actually sign a check in England. For me, doing that intent, we made this what we thought was a dope film. We had a like really strong cast because after It's a Lot, we reviewed the way we casted it, and we're like, you know, why don't we do a film like, you know, the films that we liked growing up, like your Juice, In Too Deep, Paid in Full, Belly. Those are the full films that inspired the intent. Like, you know, like it was those full films. So if you look at the way we shot the intent, we didn't have that much money, but we were trying to use some of the style that Hype Williams exhibited in Belly. And the story, the spirit of Paid in Full is in that film. Like it's not even, it wasn't a storyline, it wasn't like just the spirit, just the vibe of Paid in Full is the way that film's made. And then In Too Deep's about a police officer going undercover, same thing, the intent. And then Juice, the catalyst is that they rob a corner shop. And so like we fully reference things that people would have seen. And then at the same time what we did was we casted rappers in the films, like because that was what these films did. Belly was DMX and Nas, Paid in Full was Cameron, In Too Deep was LL Cool J, Juice was Tupac, like do you know what I mean? So like we wanted to reference that, and even like we instructed Scorcher to draw on Bishop's character in Juice when playing his character. So for us it was we built something that was unapologetically black and was inspired by the American street films that we grew up watching, and that was what the intent was. But then we were trying to get a deal for it, so we shot it in 2014, finished it in 2015, I think we finished it early. We were trying to get a deal, took it all to all the major distribution companies, and we later found out from one of them that one of the guys said, you know, black hoodie films are not working at the moment. Hoodie films are not working at the moment, so it's a good film, but I don't know what to do with it. And like, but this was a time when Skepta was thriving, like won his Mercury, Stormzy was rising, you know, black British music culture was at the forefront of what was going on. And so it was a bit weird for me and Nick, and that was when we made the decision to distribute it ourselves. So the intent, all the marketing that everyone was talking about, that was me and Nicky's idea. To be honest, Nicky's a marketing genius. Like he's actually a marketing genius. Some of the ideas, even at that point, when we couldn't get a deal with the distribution companies, Nicky said, why don't we try to sell the film to a record label? And like anyone that knows music, like, you know, I'll say people's name. We met Glyn, like downstairs, like, you know, at the time, what island now. So we went downstairs, met Glyn, showed him the film, told him we've got this film, can you put it out? He said, you know, I'll speak to my bosses and see whether we can do something. We never heard. We met Colin Batzer here at the time and showed him the film and said, you know, can you speak to Darkest about getting involved? Like, it never worked out at that time. And like, not because they didn't believe in it, I just felt like, you know, it wasn't the time. And you know, they weren't in the positions that they're in now to make it happen. And so at that time we were a bit like, oh, do you know, what do we do? And we were knocking it around, and then we'd got most of the funding from our friends anyway, and then we just went back to our friends and said, you know, we can't get a deal, but we think we know how to put it out. And I learned how to sort of release a film independently. I just figured it out. I spoke to people, was lucky to meet people that provided us with information, and like we just learned how to release a film independently. I hired a cinema booker, I hired a music PR company, film PR company. Me and Nicky's like got a real connection. Nicky used to promote raves back in the day, so he was able to draw on that experience and like bring it to how we marketed the film, and some of these relationships actually, like in how we had posters everywhere for the intent, like, you know, street posters, but they were everywhere. And like we had people flyering events. Nicky was out there flyering with people. Like, do you know what I mean? We put our money into it, quite a lot of money as well, like 5 figures, not like, you know, a few grand, like, do you know what I mean? 5 figures, like, put loads of money of our own money into putting out the film, as well as making the film in the first place. So it was like really a labour of love to the point of release, and it makes me really happy and really proud that when people talk about the internet, they talk about the marketing and the fact that it was everywhere. And really, that was us, and that was the cast. That was Krypton Conan, that was Feki, that was Ashley Chin, that was like Nathan Hector. He was everywhere promoting that film. Nathan was everywhere promoting that film. Like, that was Nathan Hector. That was, you know, everyone that was involved was rooting for the film to work. And because of that, it worked, and it, like, we got this real organic love for the film. And also it was real, it was authentic. I think that was what was different to any other film. It felt real, it felt like you were watching, like, you know, I watch it now and you know, it's still got its charms. So, like, you know, we've got the Intent 2 now, that's the next level. Yeah,
and just summarising the market, when I saw it, I knew, I was like, yeah, this is them. It didn't feel like it was someone saying, oh, do you know, why don't you guys market it like almost like go on iTunes? It was almost like the same way you're going.
We put it out like a record.
Yeah, exactly.
We put it out, like, Nicki was like, you know, we're gonna do this, like, we're putting out an album. That's how we're gonna do it. Like, we have full music videos. Like, we'll put out a music video every week leading up to the release of the film. Like, to promote the film. So you can find them online now. We did a Gets video that we did a Gets video that went out on Noisy. We did a Cadet video that went out on Link Up TV, I think. We did a Miss Banks video for a tune called The Come Up. It's funny that the Intent 2 is now called the Intent 2 The Come Up. So we did a Banks song called The Come Up with AO Beats. We did a Big Tobes tune on the first one as well. And so, like, you know, and all these people connected with in an organic way. I went to the studio with Miss Banks and AO Beats and played them the film. I was like, and she wrote the chorus in the studio, and then I went home and slept. And then the next day they sent me the tune. And then the Cadet tune, AO Beats made some hooks, and me and Nicki picked the hook that he did different versions of the chorus of the song. And then me and Nicki were like, oh, which one do you not like? And like, we picked the hook that we wanted the most. And then they went and finished the song. Like the Get song, Get has been Nicki's friend for a long time. I met Get obviously years later, but they've known each other from the grime team from the early days. And Get watched the film and liked it and wrote the song, the theme song, and then went to the studio and made the song the next day and gave it to us. And so it was real organic, it was real man them coming together to do something. Like, you know, Big Tobes came to my office, because I had an office in Covent Garden at the time, came to my office, and like, we had everyone in that office. It was mad, like, you know, we were doing something with Deal Real. I don't know if you know Vincent. Yeah. So we were doing something with Deal Real, and like, we got office out of it, and like, you know, we're in that office, like, on Covent, like, literally main bit of Covent Garden, like, just literally we had everyone up there coming up to watch the film. And I think Manga came up there to watch the film, and I was like, you know, I want you to write a song based on my character in the film. And like, so if you listen to the soundtrack, it's got that song that Manga wrote just off the back of everyone literally come up to the office, watch the film. And like Big Tobes, I remember him coming up, like, he watched it and then he went away, and I was like, you know, I need a tune from you. He just gave me a tune. I think Nathan Hector connected me to Big Tobes in the first place. And so it was real organic, and we micromanaged. My cousin, my younger cousin, made the website. Like, he was at Ravensbourne, which is a film school, film college, film uni, basically, right next to the O2. And he's just graduated now. And he made the website, and he edited all the little trailers. Like, we had so much content online. Like, we had fresh pictures every day, fresh videos every day. It was all really fresh, and like, you know, and we just managed that whole process. It was a learning experience, because now when we're marketing the Intent 2, we can be involved in that process in a meaningful way as well. And that's the difference between me and Nicki and other filmmakers, in that we don't just make the film, we understand the market, and we try to figure out a way to connect it to the market.
Yeah, I feel like everything's vertically integrated. Like, there's not a part that you guys are involved.
Well, part of everything. I mean, we write, we produce. I'm on the Intent 2. We both directed it.
And also acting as well.
And we acted it as well. I've got a smaller role in this one, but we acted it as well. And then now we're part of like, you know, the poster you see for the Intent 2. I could show you the email that I sent them. I want the poster to be like this. I want the poster to look like a superhero film. That's why everyone loves it. Everyone loves it because they see that it's familiar, but it's only familiar because it looks like a superhero poster. Like for an action film, for like, you know, one of those Marvel films.
Explain to me a bit about when you come with a corporation and let's say you're strong-minded. Like what do you actually have to, I won't say give up, when you use the word compromise, what are the things that you kind of like?
I mean, they get part of the ownership. That's normal, right? Like when I invest in stuff, I get part of the ownership. I've invested in a few movies, like other things, and like, you know, I own them, like, you know, and that's one thing that you lose. But at the same time, working with Ireland, I'll be honest, they let you get on with it. Alex lets you get on with it. Alex knows that we know what we're doing. That's why he signed us in the first place. And so because of that, he lets us get on with it. And they've not really meddled. But then obviously, so how the deal worked, we bought Ireland brought another company on board, and then they wanted a film distribution company. And
so who's they? Ireland?
Yeah, because they're like, we don't release films, we want a film distribution company. So we went and got, we met, ordered it, so we set up meetings, because me and Nicky know everyone in film. Like, so we set up meetings with Lionsgate, I think Universal maybe, Vertigo, another company, Altitude, and we ended up going with Vertigo because they were the most, like, you know, they were tracking me and Nicky even before we got to Ireland. The minute the Intent went out, they were the first distribution company to hit us up, saying, what are you guys doing? Like, let's sit down. They were the first. And so we sat down with them, and they were really passionate about working with us. And they've done, like, you know, they've broken some big films in the past, like small films that ended up, so Football Factory, that street dance movie that was there, Bronson. They've done tons of really cool pictures in the past. So, like, you know, we really, and they started out like us. They started out as producers, and that have now gone on to set up their distribution company. So I really like them. I like their vibe. And so we ended up going with them, and for the film distribution side of things, whereas Ireland are still involved in all aspects, really, like supporting the marketing of the soundtrack and, you know, and so on and so forth, and cross-pollinating. Yeah. So like we had a trailer at Wireless Festival. No one's ever had that. Yeah. There's no film's ever done that before. We invented that. That's Nicky's on it. We sat in there and Nicky came up with it. Like in this boardroom, in this boardroom, Nicky was like, came up with that idea in this boardroom. Probably where I'm sitting now, he came up with that idea in here.
So when you look, so here's my thing when I was just thinking about it. When you have like ideas that are like, it sounds like common sense, but no one else is really thinking of it. First when you say it, is everyone like, yes, let's do it. Like, let's.
No, Ireland, do you know what? Akusu and Johnny, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say everyone's name, but like, you know, but the guys at Ireland, they're quite like, oh yeah, we'll look into it. They'll never say no.
That's it, yeah.
They'll never say no. I mean, it might not happen, but they'll never say no. They'll always say, oh yeah, we'll look into it, we'll explore it as an option. I mean, like, obviously whilst we've been here, Alex has been promoted as well. Like having Darkus on board, like he was the president of the whole company at the time before he left to go to the States. That was major for us because like he properly loved the film, he loved us and loved the idea and was fully behind it. I think that was major. And now that, you know, we've got Alex in a more powerful position than he was in before, that's an advantage as well. And so like, you know, we were very fortunate. I felt, when I walked into Ireland, to have my first meeting with Darkus, that was the first time I'd met him in my life. When I walked in, and I was sitting across from this black man that could actually sign a check. That doesn't happen in the UK. There aren't that many heads of companies that can actually sign a check in England. It's happening now. I mean, like you've got Glenn and Ricky, They've got their thing. Like you've got Doobie's got his thing now. Like they're Disturbing London got their thing with Parlophone. You've got like, you know.
But I think still the amount of money of.
I mean, Darkest at the time, obviously Darkest was the president of this whole company here, like, you know, and Darkest believed in us, and I could see in his eyes that he believed in us and he wanted to make something happen with us. And because of that, you know, like you've got that type of person and he's respected in the industry, you got him on board, and Toon was already on board at that point, and he was like, you know, I just need you to meet Darkest. And like, so they were both on board. And like the first time I've gone to a meeting for the first time and someone said, I'm gonna give you the money, and I believe that. Because I've been to hundreds of meetings, bro.
I was asking that, so before
like financing, I've been to hundreds of meetings. The thing is, for every project I make, I've got about 10 others.
But these are the ones that just got through because of
because of whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? I've got like 10 projects. I can reel off the top of my head 10, like maybe even 20 projects that I'm working on right now, or that I've got, or that I'm developing, or that, do you get what I'm saying? There's tons of projects, but it's just whichever one cuts through. You don't, and you don't know which one's going to cut through.
Do you feel like, okay, so the intent too, when we referenced that it somewhat reflects the films that you love growing up, but there is the school of thought that it fits into the stereotype of it's a certain narrative.
Yeah, I agree. But we're doing it different. It's not the same. Everyone keeps saying like, oh, it's a certain narrative. Kiddo was about little kids.
I mean, does that get to you at all?
Does it get to me? No.
Do you
know why it gets to me? I'll tell you why it gets to me, because I've done tons of other stuff. So I made It's a lot. It's about a middle class black family who their son crashes their car when he starts going to a college that he doesn't tell them he's going to, and has to think of a way to fix it before they come back from holiday. It's like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but with black people in England, middle class black family. That was my first film. That was me and Nicky's first film. Do you know what I mean? In that time, I've made Venus versus Mars. Like, you know, I produced that for Sky Living. That's about a girl. About a girl looking for love. Letitia Hector. Like, and that was Victor's project, and I came on later on. That's about a girl looking for love in London, going on tons of dates.
Started off on YouTube, right?
Started off on YouTube, and Victor was doing it on YouTube, and then when it came to Sky, I came on board and helped to migrate it to Sky. So like basically I helped out with that deal to facilitate the deal.
And that was groundbreaking at the time.
No one's ever done that.
Yeah.
No one's done that since. Like, God bless Victor, God bless his soul. That's something that he's done that no one's ever done since. Like, no one's ever done taking a show from YouTube to Sky Living. And like, you know, I suppose the disadvantage of that deal was that it was like they did a mixture of the show on YouTube, and they didn't shoot everything fresh. If they shot everything fresh, like Insecure, that would have been dope. Like, do you know, but they didn't shoot everything fresh. Do you know what I mean? They rushed it in a way. And then I did Droppers for ITV2. I did a short film called Red Room a few years. Like, you know, I do tons of other stuff, and I'm constantly pitching other types of projects. But it's like, actually, the Intent 2 wouldn't happen if people didn't like the Intent so much.
I think
because people like it. People actually, there's an audience. Do you know what I mean? It's not even like there's an audience for it, and we enjoyed making that film, and that film was a labor of love. Like, you know, that was. I remember, like, you know, one of my lowest moments in my career was when we made It's a Lot. And on the opening weekend of all my films, I go to normal cinemas and go and watch it with normal people. I sneak in, go and watch it and see what their reaction is. Made It's a Lot. I've gone to the cinema to watch it with Nicky, Darwood and Victor. Darwood, I directed it with at the time. Me and Nicky wrote and co-produced it. Got to the cinema, and only 6 people had bought tickets. And I'm sat in the car park, and I wanted to cry, but the tears wouldn't come. And I drive to my house. My missus says to me, "What's wrong?" I say nothing to her. I go to sleep. On the day my first movie's coming out, heartbreaking, bro. It's heartbreaking. Like, you know, like, that was, for me, that's the moment that I've been running away from since that day. Do you know what I mean? And so for me, I think people could say that it's the same narrative, but it's not the same. No filmmaker has gone from the UK to Jamaica to make a movie. It's not the same. You've never seen that Intent 2 before. Not on the British screens, not with black filmmakers. And do you know what? My characters as well, like the characters that we built in this film, they go through the full range of emotion. Like, you know, gets his character. He's got a love life. He's got family issues. Do you get what I'm saying? And so like you know, just because people on the streets doesn't mean their story shouldn't be told. Sure. And like also, as I've pointed out, I've been involved in or actively told other stories. It's just that they've not resonated to the audience in the same way that the intent has. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just don't make street films. You can check the resume, but people don't. People just say, yeah, you've only done kidulthood, then you did adulthood, then you did another hood with Adam Decon, then you did the intent.
I think that's true. I think we're in this information age where people.
I mean, what IMDb, bro? Just Google me, like, don't.
But you know, I'm glad you said it because when you place it like that, then it's.
I mean, I just wrote an episode of a TV series for Netflix with Idris Elba playing the lead about a DJ, a wannabe DJ who lives at home with his auntie and ends up being a nanny to one of his best friend's daughters. Like, that's not a gang thing. That's not street. Like, just check the resume. Like, this is what I say to people all the time. Really, like, if you really wanna like critique my work, actually follow my journey. Like, research into what I've made and what I'm trying to make. Like, do you know what I mean? And like, do you know, like, I do so much in the community as well. Like, there's no one that can tell me. I've been to so many schools to speak to so many kids. I've been to, like, do you know, I'm actually present. Like, I'm not like someone that's not here. I'm actually present. I'm actually active. I'm actually trying to be a positive influence in my community, no matter what way I can. So, but the thing is, I'm not gonna say like the intent is not a street film. I'm not gonna say that that the guys don't get up to street stuff in it, because actually they do. But at the same time, and I'm not gonna say that I don't like watching them kind of films. Fast and Furious is about criminals, you know. Everyone loves it.
Carjackers and everything.
Everyone loves it. Like, it's about, they're all criminals. You know, every single character is criminal in Fast and Furious. And so like, people are fast to critique, but we're making tons of projects. We're still gonna make tons of projects. I'm developing like tons of stuff. I don't know what's gonna get made. I'm developing a rom-com at the moment. I've got like other thrillers that I'm not set in the street. I've got like, you know, a film about, I've got a supernatural sci-fi movie. I've got this stuff. I don't know which one's gonna get made, bro. I don't know which one I'm gonna get money for next.
Yeah, that's part of what I understand. It's like you're creative, but you've got to get commissions.
It's I have to get someone to give me money to make that project. And like, if you're out there and you're watching this and you feel like, yeah, I feel like giving my Femi money to make a rom-com, holla at me. I feel like giving Femi money to make a film about a law student that's trying to do something with his life. Oh, like, I've got projects for you, man. Like, just give me the money and I'll go make it.
Can I ask you, and this is the thing I think, what I'm really happy about with you personally is how you stuck by Adam Decon through.
That's my guy. He's been to my mum's house. He's eating jollof in my mum's house. If you've been to my mum's house and you chop jollof, you're my guy, man. Not many people have been to my mum's house.
But you really when everyone was turning their back on him.
I don't think anyone turned their back on him. I think like it's just difficult because when that happens, when someone has a breakdown so publicly, people don't know how to react. Do you get what I'm saying? People don't know. But you know, what I realised, I was meeting Adam. So me and Victor met Adam after he came out of hospital. We met him like every single day for like a month. And we were trying to develop projects with him. He wasn't ready. But the idea was we were getting him out of his house every day. And he was coming to us, we were buying him lunch, and he was talking to us about ideas of what he wanted to do next. And we tried to make a documentary with Channel 4. Like, you know, there's tons of stuff we do that people will never know. Like, do you know, there's like me, Vic, at the time when me and Victor were like, you know, we're trying to do all these things. Me and Nikki, there's so much that we do that people will never know. Like, and
just as I've seen a lot.
Because they see people only see what you actually put out. They don't see what you're developing, what you're working on behind the scenes. Like, you know, like today we spent a day in a room with like 8 writers developing a TV series. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's until that comes out, maybe in a year, 2 years time, it doesn't exist to anyone. Do you know what I mean? But then who knows what's going to happen to that in a year, 2 years time? You just never know with all these different projects, you know. But I suppose the point I'm making is that with Adam, I realised very early, like after he had his breakdown, I realised that one, I stopped with Adam's my boy. Like, you know, Adam, out of the kidulthood lot, Adam and Amel, I'm really close with them. I'm still very close with Amel. Me and Amel are like, you know, that's my guy. Like, you know, me and Adam fell out. Me and Amel have never fallen out about anything. And we're always dissing each other. We only brought it to life recent, but we always.
Some people thought it was serious. Though.
Yeah, I know. Some people thought. So me and Amel been doing this thing where we're battling for fitness. But Mel's skinny anyway. He's fit anyway. I'm not fit. Like, you know, I'm trying to get there. Like, but Amel's fit anyway, and we're looking for stuff to do to promote the movie because we were just so gassed by the whole experience. So there are moments that have galvanized our relationships over the years. But with Adam, I've just since. Whatever's happened with him, I've just put him in everything that I've done.
Looks hard.
Adam's on we've on 3 projects together. So we tried to do a documentary with Channel 4, didn't go through. We had that in development for a while, and we did a taster tape, and like we're going through that process. Didn't go through. We did the ITV2 program, Droppers, together, and now we've done the Intent 2 together. And I've just called him. I've not made him like audition or nothing. I just called him because that's my guy. Like, you know what I mean? Because like, you know, at the end of the day, no matter what, Adam Decon is a brilliant actor that I was won a BAFTA, and like we can't look at him because like we can't stigmatize him because he had a mental health breakdown. Like, you know, we're supposed to help people like to get over those things. We're not supposed to label them and stop them from being their best self. And Adam's best self is on set working because that's the happiest I've seen him. And that's probably the saddest I've seen him as well. Like, you know, working on Another Hood, he was quite stressed on that. Like, you know, there were days like when they were hiding cans of Red Bull from him on Another Hood because he was so stressed. But like, you know, but for me, the happiest I've seen Adam is on set, and I just want to see him back to that happy place. I want everyone to be good, man. I want, whether you're my friend or not.
Yeah, I mean, Intent 2, there's a lot. I mean, I think now everything's leveled up.
Of course.
Financially.
We've got juice.
But then I guess to me, like, kind of summarizing it, you said the fear of like the first film, like when the theatre wasn't as packed.
It was empty, bro.
I doubt that's gonna happen.
There was no one there, bro. It was sad.
But in this time here,
I like telling that story because it's not, everyone just thinks, oh, it's wins. People always talk about wins. Like, you know, we all take our L's. And like, you know, and that was a major L for me, but at the same time, that moment I could have stopped. Like, me and Nikki were going through a lot. Like, no one called us though. No one cared.
Did you think about stopping at that time?
Nah, man. Remember, I got a law degree, so I could always stop and just get a job. It's maybe too late now, but but at the time I was still kind of young. I could have just got a job, like, you know. But we responded with the intent. We just don't give up, like, and now we've got a track record. Because at that moment, at that first hurdle, we could have turned her back. But, you know, we've now made, 3 films in like 7 years or something? Or like, since 2012, we've made 3 films. It's not a bad ratio, but we need more though. I want to do 2 a year.
2 a year?
I want to do 2 a year.
That's a lot.
What's that Drake lyric? I'm doing a week.
So now, because everything's magnified now, is it additional pressure for you, or is it just like you're happy with the anticipation?
Do you know what's mad? People come up to me and say, congratulations on your film. I'm like, but you haven't seen it. Everyone comes up to me literally and say congratulations, and I'm like, wow, like people think I've won an Oscar already. But like,
the work isn't done yet.
Yeah, the work should begin. I think marketing is the battle. I think getting the right marketing strategy, getting people in the cinema, and like, you know, and also for like these films, they don't come out very often. It's like reminding people that, you know, you have to go to the cinema to support it, because this is more of a traditional release. Last time we put it out on iTunes, DVD, we put it out in the cinema all on the same day. Like, because we couldn't do a big campaign but this time we want everyone to go into the cinema. Like, you know, we want it to do well that opening weekend, because if it doesn't, they pull it out of the cinema. And so that's a different kind of pressure. Like, you know, this is like it's gonna go out on like 150 to 200 screens. I said that I've never had that. I've never experienced that before in my life.
Yeah, never, for like these types of films.
No, I mean like Kidulthood went out in 50 screens. Adulthood went out in about, I think, 210. Brotherhood went out in about, I reckon, about 300. Another went out in 175. So like, you know, they went. So I've been part of those big films, like, you know, not Brotherhood, but like the other ones that I mentioned. I've been part of those big movies that have had, like, you know, big releases. But it's rare for these type of films to go out so broadly, and so for us, like, the pressure is like to do those numbers. Like, I want to do those. I want to do adult numbers. I want to do another, like, Brotherhood numbers like that. They're massive numbers, but you can only do those numbers on loads of screens. So I want to try to do that. You know, it'd be great to be able to do that, because that gives you a 10-year career, like a 15-year career that maps out the line. So there's that's a different type of pressure, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess kind of somewhat like rounding off. But if this one goes out the gate, investors are going to say give us another one potentially.
I'll do the intent free. I've got the idea already.
So it's going to be almost like a franchise.
Yeah, I'll do the intent free. Yeah. Like, generally, I'll do it. Like, I'll do it, but not straight away. I want to do something else next. Like, we've got something else already. Like, I don't want to super announce it yet, but we've got something else we're working on literally right now. I think that's the hard thing, isn't it? It's like balancing all these different projects. Like, you know, but me and Nikki have got something we're working on. Like, literally, like, at every given opportunity when we have windows in our diaries, and it's looking good, man. Like, but I'll do that intent free though, like 100% all day, just because unfortunately Scorcher wasn't in this one because he's not available, and like, so I'd like to bring Scorcher back. It's not because I didn't want him in it. He's not, like, people keep saying, why is Scorcher not in the intent it flops. Like, but if you don't know, you're not a real Scorcher fan. Like, you know, like, if you don't, like, so it's like sort of like, you know, I want Scorcher to be like, you know, I wanted him to be part of that journey, but unfortunately he's not been able to be part of that journey. So I'd love to work with Scorcher again if it's possible. It's up to him. He doesn't have to do it. Like, I'd love to, like, you know, work with a lot of the guys. I like working with Feki. Turns up an hour late, but he's brilliant. Like, but I turned up an hour late today. You know, like, but Feki's brilliant on screen, and he's like got so much flavour. He's got that Nigerian charisma, man, unstoppable charisma, and it translates on screen. Krypton Conan, they're great to work with. Like, you know, it was great working with Adam Decon this time. Like, you know, Ashley Chin's one of the best actors in this country, man. Like, one of the best black actors in England, like, easily. And so I like, you know, being part of his journey and giving him that platform and shining the light on his talent through these films. So, like, you know, I'd like to be back in it, like, in a meaningful way. Like, I think my character will minimise it this time. Like, last time my character played more of a bigger role in the overall narrative. It's like, we'll minimise it this time. I like the world that we've created. It's a fun little world, so I like to revisit that world. And also, like, if we do that intent free, I want to shoot part of it in Nigeria. And so,
that would be.
No, I want to shoot part of it in Nigeria because I mean, someone's gonna do it now. I've said it. Some Nigeria's just gonna steal my idea.
It won't be the same.
But it won't be the same. And me and Nikki have been talking about it. Like, me and Nikki talk every day at like between 8 and 9:30 every single day in the morning, and that sometimes includes non-conversations, just about catching up on what's going on. Sometimes it includes actual conversations. Sometimes it includes like real, like, just generating ideas. But we have that chat every day. And sometimes we have pressing matters that we have to speak about. That shapes the day, sort of thing, like what we're gonna do and some of the elements of what we're up to. And so we're talking constantly about, you know, the intent free. But also I'm conscious that I want to do something else in between, so that people don't think I only make the intent action films. Not because I don't, to be honest, I don't really mind, like, because you know what, at the end of the day, we found something that people love and that people love as much as we love it. And, like, you know, I can't really, like, I can't snob it, because people that know me know that I have a clean heart and I meaningfully contribute to the texture of the Black British experience. So you can't question that, for one. You can't. I've contributed as much as I possibly can at my age and my experience and all the stuff I do. So, like, you can't say because I made the intent, I'm like not a responsible member of our community, because I'm as responsible as anyone that you consider to be responsible. But but the Intent 3 will be exciting. I want people to see it as an action film, because I do. So the Intent 2 is an action movie. Let's not look at it as any street, man them on road, because it's not really that, to be honest. It's not just man them sitting on an estate. There's no estates in the film, really. And so let's stop belittling what we're creating, because what I'm creating, what me and Nikki sat down and we wrote and we created, is an action film. And that was what we're trying to do with the Intent, but we didn't have money to take it all the way there.
But that's what the whole thing about, like the cars.
Yeah, so take it as an action film. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, take it as when you watch City of God, you don't think it's just any film about roadman. You take it as it's thrilling. Do you know, it's crime, but it's thrilling, you know? And that's, I want you to watch it like that, you know, the way we shot some of Jamaica. It's beautiful, like beautifully lit, and like, you know, the DP did a great job in the way that like we lit, like, you know, some of the scenes that we shot in the hood. I mean, we shot in like the nice areas, we shot in the hills, we shot in Ochi, we shot Ochi's Rios. We shot everywhere in Jamaica, but we also shot in the hood, and the way the hood looks, we made it look beautiful. Like, you know, in the same way the hoods look in City of God, you don't think, oh yeah, again, it looks gorgeous. And so we made sure we lit everything to make everything look beautiful, and we handled it in a responsible way. And so, for me, I want you to take it as an action film, as us trying to make action film on a limited budget.
So I guess the part in close would be like, what are kind of like, I won't say the do's or don'ts, but what are some of the lessons that, I guess everything's a learning experience, but being that everything's bigger, it's magnified, you're doing stuff in different countries now, there's more people involved, working with artists. Kind of like summarize for us what is kind of like, I won't say the difficulties, but the challenges of the Intent 2 for you.
I think one of the key challenges was like, you know, it's hard for crew because it's 2 black boys in charge, 2 young black men. That doesn't happen. Like, we make the transfers from our bank account, like our business account. That never happens. There's no go-between. Like, what we're doing, no one's ever done it. Like, film-wise, like, we are, like, there's no secret Oyinbo guy somewhere. You don't know what Oyinbo means, that's you, innit? but there's no secret Oyinbo guy somewhere, like, you know, it's 2 black guys, like, you know, really creating the film and creating the platform. And so that was difficult for people to digest at times.
When you're being family situations, I guess, probably.
No, just like in general, like, remember the majority of my crew, like, is white. And like, they just...
Would they look for someone else?
Yeah, like, I was making a joke on set saying, next film I do, I'm going to hire a white guy to pretend to be my boss. Like, one of my brothers, I'm going to tell him to come on set and say like he's the boss and really hear what they've got to say. Because just for jokes, just to see what they say to him. But yeah, so for me, I think that's breaking new ground is hard. I think working with 2 companies that don't normally work together, that have never worked together before, I think that's difficult. So you've got Island Records and then you've got Vertigo. That's like they've got two different ways of doing things, and they bringing them, trying to marry those 2 things and trying to get them together is difficult. I think they've been good, but it's still hard. You know, we've got 2 institutions like marrying those. It's like trying to make the UK and the EU work together to do Brexit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they want to do Brexit, but it's just not happening. Like, you know, but it's not even as bad as Brexit. Shit example. Sorry, no, it's not as bad. Before I get kicked out of the building. But you know, bringing 2 companies together is difficult. Staying across it so that things don't slip through, and then you've got the element of cost-wise, it's fine. You know, it comes with the same stresses that you get with anything when you're working with talent. Talent's talent. Talent's a bit mad sometimes. I'm talent, you know, so I'm empathetic. Sometimes I've got a crazy streak where I'm like switching at everyone. You know, talent's talent, innit? Talent always have problems.
It's creative.
Yeah, like as a creative person, there's always something to deal with, like, you know. And so I couldn't even sit here and start critiquing the talent, and like, you know, I probably need to apologize to some of them for switching at them, but like, you know, the majority of the time it was all good, man. It was like, you know, there was a good spirit. It was always pressure. I remember one day Get said something funny. Get was like, you see, on a film set, why do you lot always seem miserable? Like, you lot are being creative, but why do you lot seem miserable? Like, it's a tense environment, man. Because we have to get through 8 pages. It's very tense. Film sets they're not like music videos. They're not like going to studio with your man there. They're not there. It's just a very serious environment. It's like work, like, you know, a film crew, a well-drilled film crew. It's like work. I mean, and sometimes you have jokes, but it's very serious, and everyone takes it very seriously. And so if you're not in that world, it's a bit like Gets was like, oh my gosh, the way you lot talk to each other is wild, man. It's wild. Like, why don't you lot smile? What's wrong with you like that? Do you know what I mean? So it's I would say it's in that environment, it's very tense. But at the same time, when you have, like, you know, we shot a scene in Bristol, one of the key scenes in the film, and we had about I'd say like 30 guys from London in that scene, and everyone was sitting in the holding room cracking joke, and everyone's sharing stories, their different stories, like, you know, Feki, Ashley Chin, Get, everyone, there was tons of Maxwell D, like, you know, everyone's just in this room just cracking joke and sharing stories from back in the day and all of that. When you watch that, you think actually it's a beautiful thing, like, we're bringing brothers from that would never really be in these rooms together. I think that was really nice. But I think the challenge is it's the normal. Sometimes people are late, sometimes, you know, and they're like, well, my call time, you're calling me to come in for makeup an hour before, but I don't need makeup. No, we'll get you to be there so that you know you're ready. You're ready to go when we're ready to go, not like to come when we're ready to go, because then you're slowing us down and stopping us. And so, like, it's just teaching, like, you know, set etiquette to people, and, like, you know, not talking in between takes and all of that stuff. But, like, so I've got nothing bad to say about the cast, because they've been really behind us, man. Remember, we started day in 10, and again, as I said, Gets was behind that because he watched it and he liked it and he made a song for it off the back of that. So, like, the majority of these people, they've been behind us from when it was just a man them's thing. Krept and Konan were behind us when it was just a man them's thing. Do you know what I mean? And so now that it's not the man them's, they're still behind us. Even Popcorn, like, you know, we only met him last year. June. We only met him last June. Teddy Brockshot, Nicky tracked him down. Nicky got us Teddy Brockshot. Teddy Brockshot's not been in a film like Louis Rankin. He's not been in a film since. I don't know what his last film was, but, like, obviously we know him from Belly and we know him from Shutters. And, like, but to be able to put someone like that in a film, to be on set and get to, like, I remember watching you in Belly or Shutters. I don't know which one.
It was like on Instagram. I think there were some parts that you guys were posting, you know, filming. I think Gets was just like reminiscing of some people.
No, Get said, I remember watching you when I was in jail. And now I'm here on a film set in Jamaica with you in a film that I'm playing the lead in. Do you know, like, to be part of that journey, to be part of that full circle, that's a big transition, man. Look how Gets is, like, you know, being able to, like, go from a guy watching someone in jail to, like, playing the lead in a film that the guy's in. Like, it's insane. Like, you know, to be part of that journey is a beautiful thing. I mean, going to Jamaica, it's easier to shoot in Jamaica. You can do more.
More relaxed, yeah.
You can do more. You can do more in Jamaica. You can lock off a highway and shoot there. Like, you can do whatever you want, innit? Like, you know, you as long as you, like, you know, you got money and you pay a little bit, you're able to pay some money to people, like, and you have the right connections. We had good connections out there, and we had people that helped us a lot, like Carlene, T, like, people like that. If it wasn't for them, like, even Mimi, like, those guys really patterned Jamaica for us. If it wasn't for them, like, you know, it wouldn't have been possible, and they helped us out with getting Poppy involved and all of that as well. So, I mean, Jamaica was difficult, but it was easy at the same time because you could do more. The difficult element was that you're shooting a new environment, so it takes a while to adapt. So I would say that, you know, for young filmmakers, I'd say, I think just do it, man. Don't wait for permission. Just do what you want to do. Like, because we didn't. I made, it's a lot of, like, you know, we decided, it took me 18 months to raise the money to make my first film. And I just kept going. And then we had to go to our brethren to get a movie for our second, because our first film wasn't successful. We had to go to our brethren to get money to make our second film. And persuade them to believe in us. And they did. And we're repaying them, even still, now. Do you know what I mean? And then because of that, we got the intent too, and God knows what's next.
My last thing is the whole situation with Victor must be really hard to deal with. During this period. I know Ace as well, and just that whole time, man.
I mean, the thing is, I still can't. Sometimes I sit back and I just think I can't believe there's no more Victor. I think that was what I kept saying, no more Victor. Right, rah. Every so often I would be like by myself and I'd be like, wow, no more Victor. Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, that's your guy, isn't it? Yeah.
Like, what does that even mean? Because, like, you know, Victor's, I mean, me and Victor really connected. We've known each other from young, and we really connected again when we were shooting the Intent 2014. Like, since then, we've been more or less inseparable until we passed away. And then we became business partners in 2016, like, you know, at Purple Gecko, which was already his company, and I joined in 2016. So I think I can't, you know, I don't have the words to fully describe what it means not to have Victor, because I spoke to Victor every day as well. So I spoke to Nikki every day, I spoke to Victor every day. Everyone else maybe didn't get a call from me, enough calls. But those two people I spoke to every single day of my life about everything. Like dumb things, serious things, all sorts. Like, you know, we spoke every single day. And so to not have that anymore, it's been hard, man. It's been hard. I mean, doing the film, it was like, you know, I think that helped as well, having something to do. Because the day after Victor passed away, I was back in the edit. Not because I wanted to be, but I felt I had to be. And everyone was like, Nikki was like, why are you here? The edit was like, why are you here? Everyone was like, why are you here? I'm like, well, we have to make the film. That's what we're doing. Because I had that to hold on to, and that helped me actually. Because it meant I didn't stay in my house. The day after I found out Victor was dead, I sat in my house. I think I sat in my house for half the day or all day. And after that, I decided to go to the edit. And then the next day I was back in the edit. Next day I was back. And then after that, me and Nikki had like more arguments in the edit because it was like everything was just more stressful. And it was a lot more difficult for all of us, even the editor. But I don't know, man. God bless his soul, man. Like, you know, just trying to do my best, work, support his family the best I can. His mom, his sisters, his wife, his missus, his daughter, you know, just the best I can. But it's a bit of a, I don't know, I don't have the answers.
Yeah.
You know, I can waffle on till Jesus comes back, but I don't really have the answers. But I think that was like, for me, my dad died when I was a baby, and like, I think second to that is like, you know, or maybe even on the same level, like Victor, because actually I didn't really know my dad, but I actually really knew Victor, and that was someone that touched my life in a like serious and fun way at the same time, because we had loads of jokes together, man. So I suppose because of him, I live like, you know, everyone's like, Femi, you're like in Thailand, you're like beefy, you're doing this, you're doing that. No, because like, you know what, because now I'm open to everything. I want to do everything. I want to try to enjoy life as much as I can. And I want to spend as much time with my family as I can as well, because Victor was really like, you know, a good dad, and he really gave everything to his daughter, man, and he loved his daughter. And like, you know, I love my kids, and I learned about, like that love through him. Like, you need to hold on to your children or hold on to people that love you because of it. Like, because of Vic, I've been trying to do that a lot more. Because of Vic, I've been trying to have a lot more fun as well. Like, because he lived his best life. If anyone that knew Vic knew like he lived his best life. This guy will be ordering Caprinias at 11. I've seen him order Caprinia at 11 a.m. in the morning. So like, God bless Victor's soul. We're gonna try to keep everything going for him, and like, and like just let that legacy shine bright. Basically.
Femi, I want to really say thank you for your time. It's been insightful, man. I think for me the best parts are hearing obviously your journey within like being somewhat of a pioneer. And then also the portion of the marketing strategies. It's the fact that people need to look at your full body of work. That they have to.
Yeah, it's like listening to like, I don't know, one Nas album or like one Jay-Z album and trying to say that's the whole of Jay-Z. But if you don't listen to full, like, you don't understand Jay-Z now. If you're trying to understand Jay-Z now through the microscope of just the blueprint or just reasonable doubt, you don't understand the full breadth of Jay-Z because you don't know his journey. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Or you just like listen to Beyonce from Destiny's Child time. You don't really know Beyonce. If you only know Beyonce from like writings on the wall, you don't know Beyonce. Do you know what I mean?
Taking a full discography.
Yeah, like getting to the work, and also like, if you like generally if you have any questions about my work or anything, like hit me up on social media, I'll get back. Maybe not straight away, but I'll get back to everyone eventually, as you can vouch.
Yeah.
I might not get back immediately, but most of the time I strive to get back on time. Like, there's an open dialogue to everyone, man. I'm here. I'm here to be a service to the people.